The zircon emissary sat quietly across the table, his large insectoid eyes reflecting the ambient glow of the dining hall. A warm aroma filled the room as platters of delicacies from various worlds were served by hovering automatons. Despite his earlier reluctance, the emissary seemed to enjoy the strange Earth-inspired cuisine, his mandibles clicking rhythmically as he sampled a bit of everything. Human food is quite peculiar, he mused, inspecting a glass of sparkling beverage in front of him. It's an acquired taste, I replied, smiling. But once acquired, it's hard to resist. The emissary placed the glass down and leaned forward, his wings twitching slightly. Tell me something, he began, a note of curiosity evident in his voice. Anything, I responded, gesturing for one of the automatons to refill his plate. The emissary paused, his antennae flicking in thought. I have traveled far and wide across many star systems, and yet one question lingers in my mind. How is it that humans, a species so young by galactic standards, have come to hold such sway over the known universe? I chuckled softly, having heard this question more times than I could count. Ah, that question. The answer is deceptively simple yet deeply profound, I began. He cocked his head to the side, intrigued. Do tell. Humans, I said, leaning back in my chair, are a species defined by one fundamental trait, stubbornness. Where other species saw obstacles, they saw challenges to be overcome. Where others gave up, they simply persisted. The emissary's eyes narrowed slightly. Stubbornness alone does not explain the fleets of warships, the colonies on distant worlds, the complex networks of alliances they have forged. True, I admitted, but that stubbornness is the root of it all. You see, long ago, when humanity first ventured beyond their home world, they encountered the same cosmic difficulties that have stymied countless other species, the vastness of space, the limitations of technology, the sheer impossibility of faster-than-light travel. Yes, the FTL problem, the emissary interjected, a universal barrier indeed. Most species, I continued, when confronted with the harsh realities of space travel, settled for what they could achieve. They built small, practical ships, established colonies on nearby worlds, and lived within the bounds of their technological limitations. But humans, they refused to accept those limits. The emissary's antennae twitched in surprise. What did they do? They tried everything, I said, my voice filled with admiration. Where others saw impossibility, they saw potential. They experimented with every known form of propulsion, every theoretical model of FTL travel. They pushed the boundaries of science and engineering to the brink. And when they failed, they didn't give up. Instead, they found another way. Another way? The emissary repeated, his curiosity piqued. I nodded. Humans discovered a method to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. They couldn't create true FTL engines, not at first, but they could bend space around their ships, effectively shortening the distance between 2 points. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. The emissary's wings fluttered in agitation. Bending space? It sounds reckless. It was, I agreed, but it gave them the edge they needed. And once they had that edge, they never looked back. They established trade routes, built alliances, and most importantly, they shared their technology, not out of altruism, mind you, but because they understood that a strong, united galaxy was in their best interest. So they rose to power through cooperation. The emissary asked, incredulity coloring his tone, cooperation? Cooperation and innovation, I clarified. They offered other species the tools they needed to thrive in exchange for their loyalty. They didn't conquer the galaxy through war or subjugation, they did it by making themselves indispensable. The emissary sat in silence, absorbing this information. Finally, he spoke, his voice laced with awe. And so they control the galaxy, not through force but through unity? Exactly, I said, raising my glass. They've built a galactic network that benefits everyone involved, and in doing so, they've ensured that their influence is felt in every corner of the universe. The emissary stared at the contract in front of him, his clawed hand hovering over the signing pad. After a moment, he looked up at me. If I sign this, my people will become part of this network? They will, I confirmed. You'll gain access to their technology, their trade routes, their protection. And in return, you'll contribute to the continued stability and prosperity of the galaxy. He hesitated for just a moment longer before finally pressing his claw to the pad. Then we shall join you, he said, determination in his voice. Welcome to the future, I replied, clinking my glass against his in a toast to our shared destiny. And so another species joined the ever-growing ranks of the Human Galactic Alliance, united not by force but by a shared vision of what the universe could be. As the holographic contract finalized with a soft chime, the Zircon emissary settled back into his seat, a mixture of relief and uncertainty playing across his features. The dim light of the dining hall flickered slightly, casting elongated shadows on the walls adorned with relics from countless worlds. The atmosphere, once heavy with tension, began to ease as the weight of the decision settled in. The emissary took another sip of his drink, his mandibles clicking thoughtfully. I must admit, this is not what I expected when I first set foot on this station, he said. The stories we've heard paint a different picture of humanity. I smiled, leaning forward with genuine interest. Oh? What sort of picture? The emissary hesitated, his eyes flicking to the side as if unsure whether to proceed. A picture of a predatory species, one that expands through dominance, consuming all in its path. Some in my delegation even feared that our encounter would end with our enslavement or worse. I chuckled softly, shaking my head. I suppose that's not entirely unfounded considering humanity's early history, but times have changed. We've learned that true power doesn't come from fear or domination, it comes from collaboration and mutual respect. The galaxy is vast, and there's more than enough room for all of us. The emissary studied me closely, his antennae twitching as if trying to detect any hint of deceit. Your words are unexpected, but your actions so far have been consistent with them. I still find it difficult to reconcile this benevolent human empire with the stories of conquest we were told. Those stories are relics of an older time, I admitted. When humanity first stepped onto the galactic stage, we were still learning, still struggling with our own nature. But we evolved, and so did our approach to the universe. We realized that the best way to secure our place in the galaxy wasn't through war, but through unity. The emissary nodded slowly, his wings fluttering slightly as he processed this. And what of those who refuse to join you? Those who see your offer as just another form of subjugation? Ah, I sighed, looking down at the empty glass in my hand. There have been those who resisted, who saw our overtures as a threat to their sovereignty. We don't force anyone to join us, but we do defend ourselves if threatened. In most cases, conflict is avoided through diplomacy, but there have been a few unfortunate incidents. The emissary's eyes narrowed. Unfortunate incidents? I met his gaze, my expression somber. There have been wars, yes, but not of our choosing. When diplomacy fails and an aggressor refuses to stand down, we have no choice but to defend ourselves and our allies. It's rare, but it has happened. And when it does, we do everything in our power to minimize casualties and rebuild afterward. The emissary seemed to consider this for a long moment before finally nodding. I see. Your people are powerful, but not without restraint. That is reassuring. Restraint is essential, I agreed. With great power comes great responsibility, as one of our old Earth leaders once said. We understand that now more than ever. The emissary's posture relaxed slightly, and a hint of a smile crossed his alien features. Perhaps we have misjudged humanity. I look forward to seeing how our people will grow within this alliance. I smiled back, feeling a sense of satisfaction. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. There's so much we can learn from each other, so many possibilities for collaboration and growth. The galaxy is full of challenges, but together there's nothing we can't overcome. The emissary tilted his head, his eyes bright with curiosity. Tell me more about your people then. What drives humans to keep pushing forward even in the face of impossible odds? I leaned back, my gaze distant as I considered the question. I think it's a combination of things, our history, our environment, our very nature. Humanity has always been a species driven by curiosity, by the desire to explore and understand the unknown. We come from a world that tested us at every turn, a world where survival meant adapting, innovating, and persevering. The emissary nodded, his wings buzzing softly. A world that forged you into a species capable of bending the stars to your will. Yes, I said, my voice filled with quiet pride. But it's not just about survival anymore. It's about thriving, about building something greater than ourselves. We've learned that cooperation, not conflict, is the key to unlocking the galaxy's true potential. And that's what we offer to those who join us, a chance to be part of something bigger, something lasting. The emissary seemed to reflect on this, his expression thoughtful. And what of the future? What is humanity's ultimate goal in all of this? I smiled, a glimmer of hope in my eyes. To create a galaxy where every species, every world, can reach its full potential. A galaxy where diversity is celebrated, where knowledge and resources are shared freely, where peace and prosperity are the norm rather than the exception. It's a long road, and there will be challenges, but we're committed to making it a reality. The emissary looked at me with newfound respect, his antenna twitching in approval. A noble goal. I believe our people can contribute to that vision. I have no doubt you will, I replied warmly. And together, we'll build a future that generations to come will be proud of. We sat in companionable silence for a moment, each lost in our own thoughts, before the emissary finally spoke again, his voice softer now. Thank you for your honesty and for your patience with my questions. I feel more at ease now. I raised my glass in a final toast. Then may it be bright and full of possibilities. The emissary mirrored my gesture, his mandibles clicking in what I recognized as a smile. To the future. As our glasses clinked together, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of satisfaction. Another species had joined the alliance, another step forward in our shared journey through the stars. The galaxy was vast and the challenges ahead were many, but with each new ally, with each new partnership, the dream of a united, thriving galaxy became just a little more real.